Yeah, welcome back to my class again today. In today's class, we are still looking at Python errors, but I'm going to look at the second error, which is what? Logical error. So without wasting much time, let's get right in. So we are still on what? Python errors, right? Python errors. So in the last class, we did the syntax error. Now, today's class, we are going to look at logical error, right? This is what we are going to treat in this class. Now, I'm still going to use that same function that I used in the last class, which was that gave us the syntax error. I'm going to use it to write this program. So I'm going to define my function, def, right? And then I'll call the function name, which is what? Viral math. And then A, B, C, D. Now, this time around, I'm going to put the colon, right? Then I'll go in. I'll say result. I'll declare a variable so that whatever my answer will be stored in this variable. So A divided by B multiplied by C plus D. What will it give me? And here I will say return result. Right? Now, this is my function. This is my function. So I'm going to call this function now. So I'll call the function and I'll print out the output on the screen. I'll say print, then I'll say viral math. And I'll supply the same value, 8, 2, 2, 2, right? And then I'll close this here. Now, looking at this, if I execute this program, which we saw in the last class, right? Everything is complete. What will happen? Now, this 8 will be given to A, 2 will be given to B, 2 will be given to C, 2 will be given to D. And then the program is going to execute. In the last class, when we executed it, what did it give me? It gave me what? This program gave me what? 16, right? But this wasn't my intention. What I want to get as my output, I want to get 1 as my output. But executing this program is going to give me 16. It's not going to throw me an error. But the output I'm getting is not what I intended. So that is a very huge problem. Now, how do I find out that? The system would not tell me there's an error because there is no error. But what happened is that my output is not what I intended to get as my output. I want to get out 1, but I'm getting out 16. So that is a logical error. The logic of the program is what is changing my output. When Paul said, who is going to help me out of this situation? That what I intend to do is not what I end up doing, right? It means it is an error. I am executing my program based on the parameters that I'm seeing. But what I am seeing as my response is not what I want to. So he was now praying and asking for who is going to help him. So what that requires is you have to go back to your logic and correct that logic. So if I'm expecting an output as 1, and when I execute my program is giving me 16, it means there's something wrong with my logic. So the only way you can detect a logical error is by practice, is by testing your code, right? You test the code, you see that what you are getting is not what you want. You go back again, you rewrite the code, you correct it, you test it again. You see it's not giving you what you want. Then you go back again. So you have to test and test and test. So every time you do something, let's say you commit a sin, you are telling yourself that this is not what I intended to do in these circumstances. There has to be a repetition of what? Of the logic. So in doing the right thing, when that situation presents itself, means that you've gone back to the source code and you've corrected that code. So you can only detect a logical error by what? Practice and testing the code. Now, if what I intend to achieve is 1 and not 16, so what will I do to my code? I will have to come back to this code and look at it and say, okay, what if I put this here and then I put this here, right? And then I run this program again. What will it give me? Will it give me 1? So by putting these parentheses here, that is putting the whole of this in parentheses, I will have to execute this program again and see if it will give me my output as 1, right? So if it's going to give you 1, tell me in the comment section. Now let's go to the PyCharm and let's run this program with these parentheses here and see if our output will still be 16 or if it will be 1. If it is 1, that means I am now okay with my logic. My program is okay. So the only way you can test logical error is by executing the program and seeing what the output will be. That is the only way you can understand this. So let's go to the PyCharm. All right, so these are PyCharm, and here I'm going to demonstrate that logical error for you to see. So here I will just create new file, and I will say my logical error .py. All right, so uh, rename file is not correct, so I'm going to rename it to logical error, refactor it. All right, so that is done. Okay, my logical error. So I'm just going to use the same function that you created in the last class, so which is what? Def viral math, right? A, B, C, D. And then I'm going to complete my program and I will say result. Then I'm going to say A divided by B divided multiply and then parenthesis C plus D, right? This is my program. And I'll say return result. All right, my program is written. Now I am going to call it. So I will say print viral math, right? And then I will supply 8, 2, 2, 2, right? Now, when I execute this program, it's going to run. And it's going to give me viral math is not, okay, look at this error. You see, name error. It's telling me viral math is not defined. Did you mean viral math? Yes. So, all right. So I'm going to execute it again. And you see it's giving me 16.0, right? Now, this, my output, is not what I intended. What I want is for it to give me an output of 1. So how do I know? I can only know if there is a problem with my code when I execute it. So I've executed and it has given me 16.0, but that's not what I want. I want 1 as my output. Like we did in the last class, I will pass this to what? To my int function. So it will give me 16, right? Now, I'm just going to put this there in my logic. So now when I execute this, it's still going to give me 16. So as you can see, it's giving me 16, but that is not what I want. I want 1 as the output. So I have to come back to my logic. And then here, like I demonstrated for you on the board, I'll put this parenthesis here, and I'll add another parenthesis here. So by this, it's going to give me a different output. So let me execute this and see. So you see, it's giving me 1 as my output. So meaning this is the proper logic that I wanted, right? So you can see the first logic gave me an output 16, but that wasn't my intention. What I wanted as my output is what? 1. So I have to go back to my logic and then correct the logic and then re-execute the program for it to give me what I intended, which is what? 1. So looking at this now, my logic is now correct. The initial one output was not it was an error in the sense that it gave me what I did not desire. So you can see that that kind of error is difficult to detect because there was nothing shown on the screen to say there's an error and this is the line where the error is. So I have to go back to my logic, look at my logic very well, see what the problem is, correct it, and retest it again for me to get what I actually want as my output. So if you work this, you'll probably see why you are getting 1 and why you are getting 16. So that is what I want to demonstrate in this class. That is what logical error. So to see in the next class. Bye-bye.